Okay, today we are playing a game on Route 66. The average SR of this game was 1,739, and we will be playing Roadhog on defense and Diva on attack. We are also playing on the console today, the PS4 it looks like, so consider yourself forewarned. Our current team composition is Orisa, Roadhog, Widowmaker, Torbjorn, Zenyatta, and Mercy. That's how you know it's a lower SR game, because both of our DPS heroes are out of the defense category. We're defending, so we have to have defense heroes. Otherwise, how can we dream of defending? You know how it is. So let's start the game. So, as we can see, we got some people standing where we don't want them to be standing, because they're standing up there in the street. We're trying to stand where we should be standing, but our whole team wants to stand over here. So, we're kind of obligated to come over here and stand with them, because, I mean, what else, other choice do you have? Genji is really fucking upset about that one. Comes in trying to do his thing. Nope, no fucking fun. You put that fun down, young man. So, we don't want to be standing here, but we are Roadhog. It's where our team is, so we're going to come and stand up here. We managed to kill their Mercy, who came forward to res Genji. Not really a worthwhile trade, but on the other hand, their spawn is like right fucking there, so it's not like it's going to be the end of the world for them, you know? We are also playing Roadhog, so we can kind of just like hobble away from a lot of danger while huffing on our paint. Because people are going to be pretty bad at killing a Roadhog in this kind of SR, because they're bad at killing people in general. So we've been keeping an eye out for this Tracer. She is now fucking dead, so good job us doing our job as Roadhog. Might as well just huff your paint, because you're at almost half HP, and Mercy's off doing other things right now. Then suddenly we get healed by all the supports all at once. McCree didn't suspect a damn thing. We are trying to right-click this dude, I think. I think we tried to right-click. It's a little hard to tell being that close, but I'm pretty sure we tried to right-click him. He's way too close to be right-clicked to death. So we are also slowly getting killed in this hallway, and we're advancing into this dude while we're reloading, which is like... You know, we are playing Roadhog, but we're getting kinda beat up at this point, but hook comes off cooldown. If you're reloading, you generally don't want to be walking into the danger, because when you're reloading, you usually back out to reload so that you can reload safely and then come out and try and kill the person again. So, fight's still happening over here. Partway through this replay, watching it earlier, I was like, I don't know if they're gonna get the first checkpoint. They do actually get the first checkpoint. We just right-clicked her as well, I think. We right-clicked her. We're right-clicking people way too close. If just the ball hits you from the right-click, it doesn't do very much damage. The goal with the right-click is you shoot people who are, like, far away with it, because the left-click is not going to hit people far away. And if they're at, like... If you angle it just right, sometimes you can just, like, have it pop right in front of their face and just, like, kill a dude, basically. Like, not quite, since they nerfed Roadhog's damage, but if they're inside the range before the ball actually explodes, you don't do very much damage to them, so... you gotta try and get used to the range on the right click with Roadhog. So we hook a little late on that one, but Genji's just kind of hopping around over here doing his own thing with, like, no real plan, so it doesn't really work out for him in the end. Diva's doing this, which he's not really allowed to do. We decide we don't think we can get out of the way, so we just start huffing on our paint in front of the explosion. Don't walk back into the explosion, because the explosion does 1,000 damage point blank. Try and get, like, as much distance in between you and it anyway, because you don't want to take more damage than you have to. So we drop really low. That wasn't a particularly good use of a Diva ultimate, so not very much really comes of it. Most of their team is dead. Mercy comes over and reses this person. I'd probably ult, honestly, because Whole Hog isn't a very good ultimate, and you'll kill, bare minimum, Diva and Junkrat, probably. Maybe the Mercy as well, if you shove them off the edge. And, quite frankly, I just look at that and I'm like, there's so many people right next to the edge, I want to push them all off the edge. And then they would be demoralized. We don't do that, we have more self-control than I have as a person, so... Fair enough. We had probably won the fight anyway, so... Tried to hook Reaper, but he Wraith formed just as we hooked him. Is known to happen. Here comes Junkrat. Junkrat's killed Mercy and Torbjorn. Now May's dead. Fortunately, their Mercy's also dead, but most of our team is currently dead right now, so it's not a great time. We did see this Junkrat, but then we kind of, like, forget about him, or maybe we didn't notice him, because we did see him. There he goes, scampering around in the gas station right there. And then we kind of just forget about him, and we start backing up into him, probably looking for the Reaper, but Junkrat's easier to kill than Reaper, so don't just let... Awareness is key. There's a thing in the next round that was like... I found a little bit on the egregious side. We don't quite kill the Junkrat, but he gets killed anyway because he backs up into Orisa, so it's all good, all's well that ends well. And we've got Roadhog still, which we've been sitting on for a while, but like there haven't been that many situations to use it in, honestly. Enemy team does us a solid in this game by kind of letting us get away with some shit. Well, letting our team in general get away with some shit, because like, we shouldn't be up here. This is not okay to do, because we're like half HP when we start doing this. And when you use Roadhog, you kind of paint a giant target on your head, because suddenly it becomes a lot easier to kill Roadhog when he's using Roadhog, because you can't use Take a Breather anymore, and you can't use your hook to, like, stop things. And we're already half HP. We're not allowed to do that one. It's not even that, like, a very good time to use Roadhog, because all we're using it on is Diva. Like, nobody else is actually up here, so it's not a very good use of our ultimate. There haven't been that many good uses for our ultimate. Like, basically the only time we really had an opportunity to get any, like, kills with it was, like, the one time I was saying when I would have used it. Other than that, it's kind of been like, well, it's been like 1 or 2 people the entire time. We haven't really had to worry about it that much. But that was not the time to use Roadhog. So, we're coming back over now. The fight is, like, still not going that badly, all things considered. Here's Junkrat. It could be a little smoother, because the idea is sort of that you right-click and then, like, immediately hook the dude, because it's just, like, slightly faster. We misalign it a little bit, and we don't quite kill him. He gets killed anyway, don't worry about it. Torbjorn's turret's up there. And then Torbjorn dies to Junkrat's passive. Isn't Junkrat... Oh, he's, like, mostly dead. I was gonna say, isn't Torbjorn in Molten Core, but he's mostly dead right now, so I guess. So May used Blizzard, and it doesn't really look like it got a whole lot done. Unfortunately, we've just used our hook, so we can't stop Reaper doing that, which means the fight starts going downhill pretty quickly because they start using a lot of ultimates now, which is how Overwatch tends to go. If the enemy team has more ultimates than you and you can't, like, cancel out those ultimates, you're probably gonna lose that fight. Which, in the case of, like, Route 66, in overtime, you probably lose the checkpoint as well. We don't hold this checkpoint. As you can probably see why I was like, do they even get this checkpoint? They do get this checkpoint. We don't even get back in time to try and contest it. So we're too far up now. We were never gonna make it to the checkpoint, so we shouldn't, well, at least not in a reasonable, because, like, we might have gotten there and had, like, 0.01% we could run on it to touch it for half a second. Even that's not worth it. We shouldn't be this far up. Reaper's coming in, he's just used his ultimate, so there's, like, no way he can actually, like, this isn't a legal maneuver. Unfortunately, we are low HP. Basically, you gotta start huffing as soon as you left-click this dude, because you're, like, half HP, Reaper's right there, it's probably gonna kill you if you're at half HP. If you start huffing and turn away from him, this is just general advice also, if you're huffing on your paint, turn away from the enemy team, because... think about how Roadhog's model is. He's not built like a snowman. His head doesn't rest on the top of his model. It's slightly off. It's slightly towards the front of him. So, if you're huffing your paint, you turn away from the enemy team, show them your magnificent ass instead. They can't shoot you in the head, which makes it even harder to kill you on top of the damage reduction you've got. So just general advice. If you're fighting a Reaper, like right there, the play is like hook him, to, like, CC him, left-click him, start huffing, turn away. He's probably not going to kill you, and you just hope that Orisa can finish him off before Take a Breather ends, and if it doesn't, if she doesn't, we can try and left-click him again. That's basically the play. He wasn't allowed to do that, but he got away with that. So, I mean, the great equalizer is always that the enemy team can be worse than yours, so. And sometimes your team is the one that's worse than their team. Statistically, probably 50% of the time, that's going to be the case. It's unfortunate how statistics work sometimes. Man, it's a good thing they haven't picked a Pharah, you know, because, like, we've got a Torbjorn and a May, and that's it. Man, that would really suck. Fortunately, they haven't done that. People are always, like, really hesitant to pick Pharah, even though Pharah is, like, really good. Like, I don't get it. So, Reaper is using Death Blossom again. We could have started huffing on our paint, but frankly, we would have probably died anyway, and probably just ended up feeding them more ult charge with it as well. You can accidentally feed the enemy team a lot of ult charge as Roadhog, which we want to try and avoid doing. So if you're, like, definitely gonna die, you usually don't want to start huffing your paint because, if you're gonna die regardless, all that happens is you end up giving them 300 HP more ult charge. So, it's worth thinking about. Roadhog can end up being an ult battery for the enemy team quite easily. So we almost have Whole Hog, which is pretty cool. Sombra's just used her Emp, so enemy team largely consisting of not heroes anymore. Really hard to actually kill Baby D.Va as Roadhog, so it took us a little while to get there. Attack Visor started happening, just hide out of the way. Oh, Hook 2.0 doesn't get the Reaper. We do have our ultimate, so we can just tell the enemy team that we'd rather stop fighting when we decide to do so. But right now they're all kind of spread out and far away, so there's not very much point. Don't need to start huffing right now. It's more important to try and hook the Reaper in this position because he's currently bullying your supports. He ain't gonna kill you. Now, you're over half HP. He ain't worrying about you right now. He's worrying about killing these supports. It's more important to try and hook him so that he doesn't kill the two supports. Doesn't kill him anyway. Genji ends up killing the Zenyatta with Dragon Blade anyway, but protecting the supports is more important in that position. But now we use Whole Hog. We're in a good position to actually start killing some people. Oh, shit. We just barely survived that, which is pleasantly surprising, actually. Because it didn't really look like we should have gotten away with it. So we start huffing our paint in front of the D.Va. I would just hook the D.Va, because if you hook the D.Va, she can't block you. Cancels Missile Barrage as well, because it's hard CC. Left clicker, she comes out of the mech. However, instead, we just decide we're gonna huff, and then we hook Baby D.Va instead, so... in the end, it works out to be roughly the same thing. I'd be more concerned with getting her out of the mech, but if you're more concerned with killing Baby D.Va, it works out. So now we're gonna attack. You might notice the replay is a lot shorter on this side of the match, so... yeah, it goes a lot better for us. There was, like, one thing that, like, really stood out to me that kind of ties in with the, not noticing the Junkrat earlier. The in-between thing, like, really, the in-between rounds really upset me because the team decided that it was important that we sit further back in the diner in case they have a Hanzo so they can't see what we've picked. Doesn't fucking matter. Like, I always find it really interesting how, people in, like, lower brackets always get really concerned about these things that, like, don't matter. I've never worried about that in a single game, ever. Like, in any SR. It's never mattered. It doesn't matter if they know what your team is, because frankly, they can probably guess what your team is pretty accurately before the round actually starts. It's not... and, like, what are they gonna do? Like, are they gonna go back to the spawn and change between rounds? No, no one actually does that. It was really upset me. It's one of those things that upsets me where, like, people are concerned about these things that, like, really don't matter except in, like, Grandmaster. And they're in, like, Silver. Like, worry about, like, playing the game first, dude. Worry about, like, actually learning how to shoot men. Then worry about, like, the more minute things that matter, like, maybe 0.1% of the time. I'm gonna try and not get really upset about that, because I'll go on about it for the next, like, half hour. I get very easily upset. So the enemy team is performing currently illegal maneuvers. If you're gonna fly at a Junkrat, please use Defense Matrix, because we just fly right at the dude and we take a bunch of damage as we're going in. Now we get up to him, and he can basically just immediately take us out of mech with a concussive mine. So now we're trying to fight Junkrat, and it's really hard to make it work because we're low HP as Baby D.Va, just naturally. And they weren't allowed to do this, but they got away with it because we all died. If you're gonna fly to Junkrat, you gotta use Defense Matrix, because otherwise you're gonna arrive and get fucked. So here's Symmetra, which is, you know, there's a lot of people, like, really far up right now. Fortunately, we hit her with, like, most of the missiles, and she, like, makes it really easy for us, because she doesn't, like, try to put any moves on us, right? She just, like, slowly goes left, slowly goes right. She doesn't really put very many maneuvers on us, so it works out very well for us. So she probably didn't get to put down her ultimate yet, because I don't think she's actually managed to build up any ult charge, so that's good for us, because if the Symmetra gets down her ultimate, it gets a lot harder suddenly. If you're flying at an Ana, you usually want to flick up the defense matrix, like, as you're arriving, because she's probably going to do this. You know, defense matrix doesn't last very long, so you don't exactly have a huge length of time to do it. But, like, when you arrive, she's usually going to try and trank you pretty quickly. So we almost flew back out into the self-destruct, which would have been really awkward. We were a lot lower HP in mech than that diva was, so that just means we get fucked, basically. Minor thing that matters. There's a health kit in the truck right next to us on the right. We're really low HP. Mercy comes to us and starts healing us, so it doesn't, like, matter. Go in there and pick up the health kit, because you got 40 HP, and, like, Diva was coming at us. Like, she wanted to fucking go still. HP is important in that position. So we managed to get our mech back quickly, because we got to shoot her mech. We've heard fire in the hole starting up. It killed Mercy. Sucks. Not much we can do about that as Diva, because we don't have a way to very easily break the tire. Sometimes this matters. If you're playing Diva, or Roadhog, actually, if the enemy Junkrat is sending their tire at you, if you're playing Diva, just go forward into the tire and see if he'll detonate it on your mech. Because if he blows up your mech, you can get another mech, which is better than him killing your team. And if you're Roadhog, walk in and start huffing your paint, like, as it gets into, kill range, and hopefully he explodes it on you and doesn't do, like, any damage to you. If the Junkrat's decent, they won't fall for that. They'll just, like, send the tire straight past you. But if you're playing Roadhog, you can also just, like, shoot the tire and break it relatively easily. But sometimes the Junkrat falls for that, and you just get to, like, absorb his ultimate, basically. Only as those two tanks... No, that's not true. Orisa can do it if she's high enough HP as well with Fortify. Because if you're like Reinhardt, that, like, doesn't work. You try to flick the shield up, they just kill you, because they roll it past you. Playing Winston, it's not gonna work out. You know. Like, Diva and Roadhog can do that pretty easily. We're just trying to, like, absorb the tire. If the Junkrat's good, he won't fall for it, but there's a lot of bad people out there. So, yeah, it's something to think about. If you're playing Reaper as well, you can, like, walk forward and try to Wraith form as it gets into range. That one sometimes works. A little riskier, because if you do it wrong, well, you die, right? Like, Roadhog and Diva have some room for error on them. But there's a couple heroes that can do that. So we push tab right there, and we see that they have a Bastion now, which is spooky, because there's not a whole lot we can do to a Bastion, seeing as defense matrix is only 2 seconds now, which is not a whole lot of time to hold something over a Bastion. Oh, fuck, there's the Bastion. We've almost got our ultimate, so we're really feeling it, Mr. Krabs. We're going to go for him. So this is the part, right? We've seen Bastion run backwards. We just, like, forget he's there. We just, like, totally let Bastion sit behind us and do this. And then, like, Mercy of all people kills him, but, like, we know Bastion's back there. We can't let Bastion sit back there. Bastion's #1 priority at all points in time, basically, and we just kind of, like, start ignoring him. Like, he's very important still. So... when I was, like, watching it through earlier, I kind of had to, like, go back. I was like, it wasn't our Bastion, right? Like, I was really surprised. We just kind of, like, stopped looking at him. So, there's Bastion. Again, we've almost got our mech. We really don't want to die when we've almost got our mech. We get back in our mech. So this is something to, like, think about when you're playing Diva, right? When you come out of your mech, you have effectively died, because you're not really a hero anymore when you're Zero Suit Samus, because you've only got 150 HP, no abilities, really easy to kill. So you basically die when you lose your mech. But if you can build up your mech again relatively quickly and get back in your mech, you effectively respawn quicker. Because when you respawn, it takes you 10 seconds to respawn, but then you have to walk back again, which can be anywhere between like 5 and 20 seconds depending on the map. So if you get popped out of mech, and you get back in your mech within, like, 7-10 seconds, that's like a actually pretty big time saving on you actually respawning. But if you are playing D.Va, you get knocked out of your mech, you walk around as Baby D.Va, and then get killed, like, 6 seconds later, 7 seconds later, you've actually just added 6 or 7 seconds to your respawn, because you've effectively died when you lost your mech, but then it took you longer to actually, like, fully die. So, you really don't want to die when you're Baby D.Va. Like, I'll see a lot of people, like, when they get knocked out of their mech, they, like, keep going. Like, I'm playing a tank, I gotta go tank things. You're not a tank anymore. You're Baby D.Va now. You back right the fuck up and try to get your mech back. Just also something to bear in mind. Say it basically every time we watch a D.Va game. So, their team is, like, largely dead right now. As you can see, there isn't much time left on this replay. It'll come as no great shock that we get away with this. So, right now, I would go up into the, I would float up into the cave entrance at the top of this ramp and just start body blocking it, because you're big, you can stand in the way, you got your ultimate, you got huge wiggle room right now. Instead, we decide to go for the lob, which I'm not a huge fan of, because it tends to do that, exactly nothing. If we, like, go and just sit in the cave entrance and just, like, block with our body, we can use our ultimate to, like, get our mech back, we can, like, stop people from actually getting back out here. And then we can use our mech to zone people in the doorway, rather than lobbing it, which ended up not really doing very much. Doesn't matter, though. We get the point. Wasn't that hard, really. Enemy team was pretty bad.
Thank you.
Our team was also not fantastic, like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's important to remember that we're all bad. Overwatch is not a game about which team is better, it's about which team is less bad. Oh, this is gonna be a good one, because Tracer is, like, coming out of the spawn, and she's gonna get the play of the game. Oh, baby. That came across as a little weird, because this is, like, on the other side of the map. She is a time traveler. I guess she can travel, like, between rounds and shit, right? Yeah, that makes sense. So, the biggest things in this game was, like, try to get, like, used to the range on the pop on Roadhog's right-click, because we're, like, right-clicking on people who are, like, well within the range, and that, like, doesn't do any damage. It does, like, 30 damage. Like, it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. I don't know offhand how much, like, the clump does, but not very much damage. If they're within that range, you just left-click them. And then you want to get used to it so you can try and, like, pop fools who are, like, just at the range of the right-click, or you just use it to poke people that are far away, or you use it to shoot barriers. But, like, if they're inside the right-click range, you want to left-click them. And then, like awareness, like, we don't really, like, look around very much. Granted, it's harder to look around on the console because you can't, like, just, like, whip a mouse around and all that, but, like, we don't really look around very much. Some stuff seems to just kind of, like, slip us by every now and then as well, which is, you know, a big thing. And, don't, like, sit on Whole Hog for too long, if possible, because, like, it's not a fantastic ultimate, and you build it very quickly, because he has a self-healing, so you can build his ult charge very quickly, on top of just, like, doing quite a bit of damage. So, you want to kind of use it as quickly as possible. It's not a fantastic ultimate, so you don't really have to, like, sit on it. You can basically just use it like, the enemy team's trying to start a fight, I've decided I don't want to do this fight. Right? You don't necessarily have to kill them. Because if you just use Whole Hog, you can be like, well, this fight's just not gonna happen. I've just decided I don't want to have this fight, so now you all can just fuck off, frankly. And those were, like, the biggest things. You did specifically say in the email positioning as well. Yeah, positioning and ult. The ult is like, well, with D.Va, don't, like, do the lob. I've never been a fan of that. D.Va's ult is best used to either, like, get another mech to, like, play really aggressively because you can get another mech, or to use for zoning. Or if you're gonna combo it with, like, Graviton sometimes, you know. Usually it's just used for zoning or to get another mech. Sometimes, like, suppose you've got, like, a Reinhardt on your team, and he's got Earth Shatter. You can, like, lob the mech past the enemy team, and then they have to turn around. Then they're like, well, fuck, I gotta look at that, and then your Reinhardt ults, because they have to turn around, so it's really easy for him to line it up. If they've got, like, if you've got, like, a soldier and he's got tac visor, you can throw it on the other side of them, and then suddenly they have to acknowledge these two threatening ultimates on both sides of them. So, that's, like, the best time to use a lob, is to, like, another teammate wants to use their ultimate, so you throw it in there to make it more difficult for them to avoid both of the ultimates. Otherwise, it's usually just used for, like, I just heard Genji use Dragon Blade, just ult, and suddenly he has to either waste a bunch of time on Dragon Blade or get himself killed because he tries to make plays happen while the bomb's there. Or attack visor, you just use it and you, like, kill these ultimates. You hear Lucio drop the beat, just ult, and then suddenly they're like, well, fuck, I guess I'm not going in anymore. I guess we'll wait a minute instead, actually. That kind of thing. Or just like, my ultimate's not that good, I lost my mech, me being out of mech is really bad right now, I'm just gonna use it to get another mech. Like, that's usually why D.Va's ults are used. Whole Hog is like, it doesn't typically kill someone unless you're in a specific setup where there's, like, something you can pin them against. So, that's very dependent, like, on the map and where you are on the map. Usually, Whole Hog is also just used to be like, they're using things I don't like them using. I'd rather they just stop, actually. Like, I'm not really feeling this fight right now, so I'm just gonna tell them to fuck off. Somebody's coming at you like Reinhardt's coming at you nano boosted? Rather not. You hear Dragon Blade? I'd rather not have that. Sometimes you can use it on the tire, just like, no, I'd rather not deal with that. It's very hard to use it in an aggressive manner, unless you're in a specific situation. So it's usually best used defensively to stop enemy team's aggression, because it is basically, I stop this fight happening. So hopefully that answers your question on, like, how to use the role. I didn't think there was that much issue with the positioning. There's times where we're, like, too far up, but our team is, like, too far up as well, which forces you to be too far up as well by extension, because, well, you have to, like, go and stand with your team, even if your team is standing where you don't want them to stand, because if you're standing where you're supposed to be standing, but they're all the way over there, they just get killed and you don't do anything. So you have to be too far up as well. I was quite pleasantly surprised that, like, when we knew there was a Tracer behind us as Roadhog, we were, like, very actively looking for the Tracer, and then we shut the Tracer down and made sure she didn't have any fun. Roadhog is still really good at stopping flankers like Tracer and Genji because he has hard CC that's reasonably easy to hit. So, that was really good. I was quite pleasantly surprised about that, because most Roadhog players are, like, really self-absorbed and don't worry about actually, like, stopping the flankers. So that was pretty good. I was pretty pleased with that. So, anyway, hopefully that answers your questions. Hopefully that, positioning, yeah, we're too far up sometimes. You kind of have to be. And if you're a tank as well, you have to be up on the front line. So, nothing stood out to me as being particularly egregious because of what we were doing with our team. So, thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you felt I didn't answer what you wanted in the email adequately, let me know and I'll try to expand, and I hope you found the video helpful.